Hey, how's it going? Anthony from Homecrate here. I wanted to do a quick demo of just all the things you can do in the app. I know a lot of guitarists are excited about Neural Amp Modeler and A2, and the latest update ships all of that. I have another update that's in review right now that adds a ton of features that I'm going to be going over here today that I think are going to expand on that and be very exciting. So the first thing that I do when I get a track, I'm just going to start, actually, let's just start a new one here. We have a blank track here. You can rename it, you do all those great things. There's audio tab, there's a MIDI tab, and a spatial tab. We won't get into spatial, but you can do spatial audio. So the thing that I like to do first is I go with track 2 and I put an amp on track 2 because typically what I'm trying to do is have something to doodle with immediately and get some audio. And you'll see here there's right next to the track name, there's a speaker icon. You can click on that and that turns on monitoring. So the audio that you're sending from your guitar, and I'm just using a very simple USB interface here, that will be sent through and you can hear it immediately. So if I open up the amp, I have, there's a twin reverb right there. I captured that one and I took the tubes out of it and threw them inside of a Milkman pedal amp and did some captures of those. So if you tap on the words "no model loaded," it'll open up the presets or the profiles that Homecrate ships with. And the twin reverb is called the Red Face 75. I have the slim and the full profiles if you for some reason need the full one versus the slim, but I usually use the slim. And what I'll do probably is pull back the input a bit. It's probably pretty hot. Woo! Yeah. So what I typically do here is pull back the volume so that it's not so loud. Yeah, so that's still even loud. I'll probably pull back the output. And of course you have impulse responses that you could put in between your signal. There's an equalizer that you could put either post amp or it defaults to pre. But you can pull up, I like to pull up my highs just a bit and pull back on my lows just like 1 decibel. And then there's reverb, which you can also assign preamp. And then there's a delay with a really nice self-oscillating momentary switch that you could turn on. And it'll start let's turn some of the wetness up. So you hear that there's the delay. So if I hold it, you start feeling that swell come in, and you can do some fun stuff with that. And that is MIDI assignable, so you can do you can put that on a foot switch, which can be wireless even. Bluetooth MIDI works just the same as regular MIDI. There's a sync button, ping pong, and all that other good stuff. I typically go with post reverb, so before the amp, and set it for tape delay, and that's pretty good usually. And you can set the division however you want. I probably just do it quarter. And I set the wetness usually at about like 0.5, just so it's not so heavy and overbearing. So now that I've got that set up, I can add in some drums. So I'll go ahead and add in the instrument, the drums. And I sampled a kit that I have here in my space, and yeah, so this is my drum, that's my clap. And this is modeled after the S950, so in features it's very similar in what it's trying to do. So if you go to the edit mode and I select that rim shot, I can go over to the sample rate and the bit rate and the pitch and control all of those with a little knob. So yeah. And that gets really fun, especially if you flip over to the card for the rim shot. You could like stretch it, so it's very similar to the S950 in that, and add some character, which adds some variation to it. And but yeah, how do you make a beat? So I go to the MIDI tab. I'll bring it to the 0 point of the track, and if you go into the more menu, there's an add clip option. And what this does is it gives you the ability to just randomly generate clips. These are not AI. These are just generated based on numbers, not computer brain. And you can set the bar length and you can re-roll to get a bunch of different random variations. The feel of it is just some kind of generalized common patterns you see in these genres or these types of drums. And the ability to skip steps is also there. So you can set like a 35% chance of steps being skipped, and that is really fun for variations. I usually just go with like a rock beat to start and re-roll it until it looks right. And you can pick which pads it'll pick from to create random notes. So I'll insert that clip, and that creates an 8-bar clip. And I'm going to probably want to loop this so that I can jam over it. So I'll turn on looping, I'll hold press on, or actually I'll go to the audio tab, I'll hold press here, and in the audio tab you have loop options where you can set it to end the loop after 8 measures. So then that'll set your loop point automatically so that you have a nice 8-measure repeating beat. And now to get this MIDI to assign to the drum, you can assign this MIDI to any AUv3 instrument, and if you look on the track down here, the no instrument can be set to the drum. And if I hit play, we got drums. So we got drums, we got guitar. What next? Probably want a looper, so that we can test out some ideas. So Neo and homecrate 1.10 is this looper that will allow you to do loops that have set lengths and also are in time with the track, so that you can do some really interesting things. If you have loop mode on with the drum pattern like I have right now, we are now hearing that. I'll probably pull the volume down a bit just so it's not so... That's good. So you'll see now I'm getting signal in, and it'll pick up anything that is currently being monitored. And I have this set for 8 bars, and it's synced to the track. So what I'm going to do now is hit the record button, and you'll notice it's not recording yet. It says record in, because it's set to sync with the track, and it's waiting for 8 bars to finish so that it can start to sync. And you got a master volume for that, and overdub. So if you're overdubbing, it'll at least get that last trail so it's seamless, and we'll listen now. A little bit of a gap there. I could have probably done a little bit better on the timing, but you get the idea. And also it'll tell you what note you're doing, so like it's a good way to just sketch ideas so that I can look at just ideas of what related chords there are to what I'm currently playing. It's not the most accurate thing, but it's nice to have in a pinch. So yeah, so now that I hit pause, if I rewind and play, it'll sync that up again. So everything is still synced. If I hit the copy loop button, I can copy that loop and paste it into the track somewhere. So if I want to paste it here, I could do that. And there we go, we've got that loop ready to go, and that is just a rendered version of it. If you hold press on the clip, it'll open that up and you can start doing things like fade in and all kinds of other stuff. So we've got this track kind of set up with a loop, and we've got some drums. This is the workflow that it works for me. I like it. If you have any feedback on it, please do let me know. There's a lot of nice features in here though that are just kind of tucked away. Like the tuner comes in really handy if you just yeah, so I'm a little bit, okay, I'm in tune. But this comes in handy when you want to actually save tunings too. This has the ability to save your tunings, and you can go back to those, pull them up whenever you want. And in this focus guitar mode here, it will use those tunings and tell you which ones, how far you are off. And it's got this default strobe-like tuner. If you hold press, it'll turn into a needle, so you can do that sort of thing too. But I prefer the strobe, and there's a gain and all kinds of other things. The custom side, you can add a tuning. So if I create a new tuning, it's got it there. You can tell it how many strings, you can go up to 12. I find this really handy for lap steel. I really love lap steel, and that is basically why this feature exists. Yeah, so if you want to, let's say that you want to delete a clip, you can hold press on it, delete it, it's all gone. We're still monitoring, so we can get some ideas here by opening up the amp and doing some things like, let's pull the delay with some ping pong, and let's add some reverb. The long decay. And that's cool, and then you can self-oscillate. And that can be assigned to a pedal, so that gets really fun. Like in a live setting, I would be really impressed if you use that. Impulse response works as you would expect, and the other big thing that is a new feature in homecrate 1.10 is stereo mode. So if you turn on stereo mode, that will duplicate the profile in a separate channel, so then you can output that to your master channel. And what I actually like to use this for is the master channel. So if I turn off stereo right now, and I open up the master channel and I add in a plugin, I can add the amp. So this is a neural amp modeler, the homecrate amp right there, on the stereo mode on the master channel. So then you can do something like, I'll pull open this Neve capture that's on tone 3000, and I'll unlink the profiles and then tap on the right channel and select, and then I can now have two profiles, and they'll sync the volume so that you don't have to you don't have to keep those in line. But if you do for some reason want the right harder, the left harder, whatever it is, that'll work. And if you select an impulse response here, it'll duplicate that for both sides. So that'll in a future update I might separate it so that you can define both. But for now, let's just try and get this to a baseline. But yeah, that right there will give you a really nice, almost like a mastering channel, and that's cool. And if you want to delete it, you long press on it and you just remove it, and you're all set. And yeah, so I'll close that up. We've got the drum, we've got the amp, and probably we want some synth. So there is a synth built in. Homecrate synth is it's a big poly synth. There's a lot going on. This is kind of like my dream synth. I'm really into them. There's like modular gear here that I've just been super in the synth hole for over a decade, well over a decade. And yeah, so what we've got here is it's a poly synth that can be up to as many voices as you want. Well, 8 voices, but it duplicates that 8 voices of 2 voices. So you can have this oscillator A and B and mix them in certain ways, throw down the volume, however you want to do it. There are different waveforms. I like to use the harmonic. And then there's 100 patches. So there's a lot to get from just opening this up and picking a random one. Like, I don't know, tape lead sounds cool. There's a keys button. Right, why not? So we got this key here. There's an arpeggiator, and then the thing that's really unique about this is it has 2 impulse response layers that those 2 voices will go through. So you can have one voice for one side and another voice for another side, and do some really interesting speaker cabinet things with it, or maybe reverb, or whatever it is that you've captured. There's a filter. It's got 2 channels of filter with a link button so that you can link them so that you don't have to individually set them. LFO can be assigned to most of the parameters. Delay can be synced. There's a bit crushing feature in there that you can turn on that effect, and that's really cool. The reverb is the same one running in the guitar, and of course, very hot right now is micro tuning. So yeah, if you want to like microtonal songs, why not? Like, that's also there. And that'll just map up the existing key bed to that. And it can be poly or mono. In mono mode, you can do unison with like tons of voices. The poly mode, you can also set like the way the voices are channeled through the cabinet. So if I hold 2, so you see how those buttons, or those, not the buttons, the what do you call it? The extra channels, or the extra voices that I'm holding, the extra notes, are going to the separate cabinet. So what I have here is voice set to steal the oldest, and that goes in through cab even and cab odd. So then, based on what number those notes fall in the 4 channels there, it'll distribute them through the right cabinet. And if you go with a higher voice total, like 6 voices, those will be 6 voices long. So it gets kind of cool. Yeah, and let's say that you want to add a melody to that. So what I'll do is I'll go over here to the start of the track and I'll say add a clip, and we'll make this a melody. And there's different types of melodies that you can do, like walk, wander, arpeggiated, and you can mix them. So if I say walk and arpeggiate, it'll mix the patterns that it generates for each type. So I'm going to set this at 8 bars, and you can set a key for your song, so that I could be like, set the key to C major, and it'll just only pick those notes, and you can turn on and off notes that you want to be allowed. You can also pick the density, so like if I want there to be only quarter notes, I can do that by selecting that and deselecting the 8th. Or if I want there to be quarter notes and just whole notes, I can do that as well. So if I do that one right there, like you get some pretty interesting patterns where you can also pick from the octave range that it picks from. That can get pretty cool. And then chord overlap, you can say that it's always chords, so that it always does chords, or you could say occasional chords or just downbeats, or you can just turn it off and it'll just be single notes. So let's go ahead and just do occasional chords. I like that. And then I'll just pick a pattern. Sounds good to me. Oh, and we got to assign it. Whoops. Back. We got to assign it. So if I go to the AUv3, I can now assign it to the synth, and if I hit play, it sounds horrible. But you get the idea. It's playing the notes through the synth, and you can pull that back. We'll turn that off. We'll clear the looper, because that's what's playing right now. There we go. That makes more sense. And that's pretty high, so like I don't like how high those notes are, and that's probably to do with the voices. So if I go back here, that's good. Maybe I want to pull the cutoff. Yeah, I mean that sounds pretty horrible, but you get the idea of the potential of that. And of course you could always just cycle through presets. That's cool. Maybe if I threw reverb on that, it'd sound better. Yeah, why not? So yeah, that's just a whistle-stop tour of homecrate. I think there's some things that I definitely missed. Let's just open up the more menu and see what these are. I can talk through them really quick. You can export your mix down as a full stereo track, or a spatial audio track. So if you have AirPods, it'll respect positions that you set in the spatial tab. I'm going to save that for another day. You can export your stems as a project file, so like it's got the rendered out WAV file, so you can take that into your favorite DAW. You can open existing projects. You can make a new one. You can add the clips. Lyrics is fun. You can write your lyrics. So if you need that up while you're kind of recording, that's there. Let's see what else we got. The tuner, of course. There is chat if you have an AI enabled iOS device. It can use the local models. It's not talking to any servers. It's not generating anything based off of learned music. It's just going based off of math and facts. So the chat, for instance, if you ask it like, what am I doing in the song, it'll evaluate the song by using just literally the same thing the tuner's using to know what chords are happening, and then kind of put that together, and based on that context, you can be like, just make me a quick clip that has in that chord progression some kind of melody. But I haven't found myself using that all that much. I added that just because I know a lot of people have been asking for that stuff, and I don't believe in generative AI, but I do believe in like tool assisted kind of smart informed AI. I don't want it to take over my song, but I do want to be able to just play what I know and be like, throw that into a synth really quick, and that's kind of the way I'm approaching AI in this app. And of course, in the settings, you can hide AI, so that is an option to just hide those features. And yeah, there's a lot of really good settings too. Collaborative sessions, you can wirelessly sync this with another iOS device, and when you hit play, those are extremely lined up. I've solved it. I've cracked the code, and the reason that I did this because the Vision Pro doesn't have a USB port, so I needed to figure out how to get audio from one device to Vision Pro, so I can at least say you play guitar in there. The latency is like 20 milliseconds. It's just enough where it's bad, but it's good if you're doing something like where you have a band in the room and you want to record everyone's parts. Everyone can be hosted to the same, the main host, and do their recordings with their own interfaces, and push those songs, those recordings out to the main instance that's kind of conducting the group. Yeah, so that's going to be expanded on. It works pretty well today, but I just don't know how people are going to use it, so that's the only reason I'm like a little iffy on it. I don't know how people are going to like it. But I find it extremely good for even just setting up to have an iPad send MIDI, only MIDI, and have that hooked into a synthesizer, and have your main track playing, where you could even set the output of that into your main instance, and that MIDI is perfectly lined up to where the audio you're recording in is lined up and in time. So yeah, and there's also little settings where you can kind of nudge it and set the you know, your buffer duration. By default, I set the buffer duration to 3 milliseconds, or 2 milliseconds. I didn't even know I was on 3, so that it didn't even feel like it. So let's see. So yeah, that's cool. Yeah, I hear no. If it wouldn't have been good with this 2 milliseconds, you'd hear this like kind of staggering sound that's like almost like it's missing part of the buffer. And the reason that happens is if you just have like CPU overload, you're gonna have to adjust that buffer setting. So I'm on the oldest iPad that I know of that I can support, so that is working pretty good. Where it starts to come in is when you add something to the master channel, like a stereo NAM profile. It's gonna choke on that. I've noticed that with this iPad, but not really choke. It's more like if you bump it up to 3 milliseconds, it's fine. So it's being a bit picky at this point. If you click the edit icon, there's you can set project art, so when you export this, you at least have that assigned to it in the main audio player in the app. And also you can attach video, and that comes into play with the spatial audio, where you can have video and then the spatial audio matching the video. It gets really cool when you start doing that. What's another thing that people are gonna love, I think? Let's just do a recording really fast and just see how not the looper, but just actually recording works. I'm fine. We'll do something like that, right? Yeah, so I've got it now set up for recording. I'm monitoring. So if I hit the recording button, it will record from wherever the playhead is. So if I hit it right now. So we've got that recording now, and of course it did not match that synth. I don't know what the synth is set up as, so I can just turn the volume down on the synth, and now that won't be playing. But if we play that back now, sounds a lot. I think I was out of time in there, but you get the idea. And now you can pull open the amp settings and play around with it. Yeah, if you play that, drown it in reverb. And then you got some really cool stuff that you can layer and build up a track with. Also, though, you can automate a lot of the settings that you might want to. So in the amp, maybe I want it to automate the reverb wetness. So let's just do, let's see, reverb wet. You can select reverb wet and draw a shape that you want for the automation, and you drag the waveform, and then you can do something where it like gets quiet at the end maybe, and you apply that, and what we should see is the reverb moving on its own. Yeah, look at that. And that all bounces down to your final recording. Yeah, sounds pretty cool. And yeah, so I'm happy with that, and then maybe I'll play some synth over it. You can absolutely set it up to have an input device of a synthesizer. I like using an OP1 plugged straight into the USB port. What else we got here? If you hold press on the MIDI, you can do some really fun things with the melody. If you want to bounce it down to only show the notes that are active, you can hit that button. Or if you want to do drums, you just tap the toggle for drums. And you can copy, duplicate, cut, preview, all that good stuff. And yeah, that's homecrate. There's a lot more. You just dig around, you'll find stuff. And if you have any questions, I'm pretty easy to reach. There's a support link straight up in homecrate. So yeah, let me know what you think. Thanks.